What up, peeps? It's your girl, Dash. Come back to Real Takes. Well, it's that time, guys. It's movie review time, and this is for Avatar: The Way of the Water. Now, with this one, before I jump into it, I'm just going to make this spoiler-free. I'm going to try my best to kind of be very strategic about what I discuss in this one, because even though it's been out almost 2 weeks, some people still might have not seen it, and I just really don't want to really jump too far into the actual storyline. I will say, also, with this being one of my anticipated films of the year, to wait to the end of the year, but it definitely was well worth the wait. I am a fan of the first one. It came out back in 2009. Something totally different, learning about the world of Pandora, learning about the Na'vi culture, getting introduced to Avatar, and understanding the whole point of, learning about the Na'vi avatars, implanting memories and minds and all that, and living amongst the people, being with the particular characters played by Sully and Ney'tiri, and of course Sam Worthington playing Jake Sully. I really enjoyed the film at that time. It was something totally different, very creative, of course, with the visuals. Now, I know with this film, a lot of people, we waited this long, Now, mind you, Cameron had a reason for doing that, being that he wanted the technology to kind of catch up. Some people would like to nitpick whatever and all that. I'm not here to do all that. Not my thing. I will say this: I truly enjoyed this film immensely, and I love how, like I stated to a friend, a continuation of the story with, of course, Ney'tiri and Jake, but then also progressing the story a little bit more and getting a little bit more in regards to this, because this is the second one, we still have 3 more to go. So that was one of the things when I came into seeing this film. I wanted to see exactly how the story is going to flow and what else they're going to add to this, because being that we have a couple more of these to see, I want to feel like there really honestly is a reasoning as to what's going to be happening with the story to progress it to the 3rd, 4th, and the 5th and final one. So with that being said, I want to keep this as much as spoiler free as I can, so I'm gonna try to avoid saying too much stuff. And granted, it's been out going on almost 2 weeks, but some people still might not have seen that. I don't want to be one of those ones that spoils too much, whichever. Some people are watching other people's reviews. So with that said, with this one, like I said, visually stunning. I so enjoyed seeing just the progression with Jake and Ney'tiri's story, especially with the love, being that we get introduced to their family. Now, I love seeing her kids, where we see, of course, I want to see you get these names correctly. The oldest son, what is it, Ney'tiri, and then the other their second son, Loak. I hope I'm saying that name correct. I'm just going to do the best I can. Their daughter Took, and I know they had their adopted daughter Kiri, which is born from Grace, his avatar, played by Sigourney Weaver, plus Sigourney Weaver does do the voice for Kiri. Also, there's another young man who's in the trailer. His name is Spider, and he is the son to Colonel Miles. I'm not even going to say the last name. That's played by Stephen Lang. And I like that, because that boy could not be transferred at the time back to Earth, so he ended up staying there. So with that being said, I love how we see Ney'tiri and Jake, growing and building their family. I love that besides just seeing them now, we're getting introduced to some new characters, we're getting introduced to their family, and it just brings on a little extra added to the storyline, which I love. So it's not going to be all about them. We have this many more films to go. We need to see a little bit more progression with them, and if it's immersed with people around them and also their own family. Now, with that being said, I love the part with their kids, because you can definitely see the coming of age, the older one being the more kind of overseer of the younger ones, the second son being a little bit more rebellious at times throughout this film. Their daughter Took, the little cutie, I just love it. She was so cute. But I do love Kiri. The way I realized with her from the trailer, her feeling sometimes at times, the presence of her mother. Also, when we do get introduced to, when I say the Meta reef people, when they have to exile themselves, because now we're dealing with the fact with the way things were left in the last film, with Lang's character, Colonel Miles, being killed, whatever, and all. Now we're dealing with the Na'vi, of course, making avatars, implant the minds and all memories. He's one of those Marines that, got hurt in his little battle with Ney'tiri and Jake, and it looks like they have built up a new base. Earth is dying, and it looks like Pandora is going colonization, if you will. And that means that they're trying, do the things they're trying to do with Pandora, and it sets it up where you see a little bit of a strain between Jake and Ney'tiri in regards to her not wanting to leave her family, her people, but to keep themselves, because they know in an instance it's them coming for Jake. They know that he's definitely aware. They eventually will try to comfort him because time has passed. We have a link of time where you see, of course, what the year the first one was, and then of course now. So of course them having their family and all that definitely is very believable in that instance. Whatever they're trying to live their lives, but now that this stuff has now come back, they have to move because they're going to try to find him. He was there initially in the first film to do their bidding for what they wanted to infiltrate the people and all that, but then things changed. He loved the people. He fell in love with Ney'tiri, and he didn't like what they were doing, and he went to their side. That's the setup. So eventually when they meet these new people, you get introduced to the clan chief, I want to say Tanawa Wari, and the wife Renal, played by Cliff Curtis and Kate Winslet. Cliff Curtis, his presence as the clan chief, I was here for it. You meet their kids as well. One in particular, the daughter, which Loak definitely takes a little shine to, and you can see her as well. And of course, people are not sure how to take them, and you can see that clearly because they're just like, they don't know about their blood. They're, a little bit human, type of aspect in regards to the way they look. Because, of course, if you think about their hands, because they have 4 fingers, but they have 5. Just, not sure. But then he welcomed them, and they wanted them to learn their ways. You have to be one with the world, with the sea, learn how to ride. If you saw the trailer, I'll put it like this: the sons to the clan chief, they got on my nerves. Both the boys, Jake and Ney'tiri, wanted to, do what they need to do to bond, whatever and all. And at times you could see it, but then they were always trying to get over, being a little, at times, act like you're welcoming, but then a little bit of a bully mentality and all that because you think you know more. Yes, they're there to learn, and that's what you're supposed to be doing, but you want to play games. And they played a couple games with Loak at times, whatever. He held his own. But I like how with him, I feel like when we get the next couple of the other films, we're going to see definitely a little bit more of Loak and him coming into his own, learning from certain experiences, especially in this one where he's put in a situation, by the clan chief's sons, and he ends up meeting a friend in the water. And one of his friends is considered, I want to say, what did he call it? It's considered a Tolkien, but I want to say the name, it was a Payakan. I hope I'm saying that correctly. And befriends this where he, helps him out of a situation, and he helps Payakan out of their situation. But it opens up a situation within that introduction where some other things come out in regards to the story. That's why I said with the way they're progressing the story, it all does sit around, I want to say, what did they call it? Cetaceans. I consider them, some form of, aquatic, mammals, like a whale. That's kind of the visual I'm getting from this, so I'm trying my best to get the wording correctly. But I will say this, those particular, creatures are very instrumental in regards to some parts of the storyline that's going to probably slowly progress. When we start seeing, who knows, in the 3rd or the 4th film in regards to when they were talking about Pandora, colonization on Pandora, and talking about Earth, is dying and all, and them trying to bring humans on there. Hence, the character, this general that's played by Edie Falco, who's in the film, and she kind of goes into more discussion with Lang's character when he's brought back to pretty much definitely deal with Jake, and then also dealing with some other things going on. Now, mind you, again, other parts of this, the movie I love is, of course, like with Kiri, having more of a bond with, spiritual bond of some sort with, the sea and the creature and all. I love those type of scenes. I love seeing sometimes the bonding with their dad, Jake, and all that. And then just seeing them trying to kind of find their way with, the people, the reef people, and then just finding their own way. We're dealing with, also Spider coming to grips in terms with who his dad is, and then also wanting to belong, of course, with Ney'tiri, Jake, and them and all, but they already have a good bond. He's definitely friends with, Jake's sons, and of course, Kiri definitely has a bond with Kiri. And just seeing what's happening with Colonel Miles' character coming in there trying to, ruffle feathers and doing this and all that, and doing other things, and then also working with these gentlemen who are like doing a whaling vessel, thing, trying to, catch tokens. Just a whole bunch of stuff going on, and it opens up definitely some other issues or other things that are going to be happening or moving forward, with the next couple of actual movies, hopefully, if I'm reading that right from what I'm seeing in this particular film. And I like that because I know some people are like, oh, the storyline might be a little bit thin, thinly veiled, but it's like, okay, we can only talk about just Jake and Ney'tiri for so long. We need to add a little extra layers to the story. But I love that we have their family aspect into this now, and also being introduced to the reef people from the Pandora's, eastern seaboard aspect of it, whatever, with all these other, probably, tribes and all that around there, because you see other scenes with Lang, going around trying to locate Jake and doing things of that nature, but, the clan chief trying to have everybody united so they can, keep that family safe. Also, Jake and Ney'tiri, their bond, dealing with, the change in their lives, being upended, having to leave home, and her, feeling a certain way, her discussing how she feels about, leaving her, the discussion she had with her father, leaving her people, and all that, and him wanting to protect his family. They are now one. They're our family, the Sully family, and I love that. That little statement came up quite a bit here and there, but I love the overall times they showcase, them trying to learn the ways of the people underwater. Just that overall dynamic. I loved the score, the different uses of sound throughout the film was good. Of course, like I said, visually so stunning. There was no way I was going to watch this in just original setting. I definitely did it in 3D, and I just felt immersed. I will say also, I know some people are like, oh, it's so long. I'll be quite honest with you. The pacing for me was fine. I had no reason. I knew it was going to be long anyway. I'm like, the first one was, I seriously doubt it was going to be under 2 hours. I'm like, come on now. We already know. So I was already prepared, and I'm glad as I was watching it, I didn't have to look at my phone. I just wanted to take it all in and see exactly first, second, and third act, how this was going to turn out. I will say this, the way it does, end, definitely leaves it open in regards to, things, unfinished business, so to speak. So again, look forward to the third installment. This pretty much being about, love and family, seeing them have to deal with the situation, making the choices they have to make. Also feeling, dealing with a new set of, people learning their ways and all that, and being, welcomed in and all that, and then feeling a certain way where you don't want to bring that type of, this type of situation into the home, because, the way they've just been so helpful and welcoming to you and all that, but then they see, what you're doing and how you step up in certain instances to help them and help their family and all that, and just realizing, and you're one of us. We want you to be here. We want you to stay and all that, and it just feels like definitely a progression. I love that we got to see Pandora, from the beginning with the Navi culture, of course, in the forest, in the air and all that, but this time, like within the water and the sea, and then seeing how they're going to continue telling the story and all that in regards to that aspect now, being in that situation where Jake and all that, they are welcome and they're not having to leave. They are fully intentionally. I loved it. I will say this, being introduced to some couple of new characters. I loved Renal, played by Kate Winslet. Very, very strong with it, in regards to how she felt at first. Not sure how she felt about them coming. Her and Ney'tiri kind of having a moment in the film, and him making a comment. I just have to say, and he was just like, talking to the client. She's like, oh, don't pay any mind to mother. And Ney'tiri set him straight, like, don't speak for me, Jake. Like, you have a strong-willed woman you met from day one. Do you really think she wants you speaking for her when you're saying what you're saying? But she feels the way she feels. If they don't, coming there, seeing them, don't feel like they're real Navi, whatever, and she's stepping up to protect her family, just like Renal. But again, like I said, I loved her character. Cliff Curtis playing, Tanawari, the clan chief. Again, strong presence. When I kept staring at the face, I tried to figure out exactly who he was, because I didn't know he was in it. I knew Kate was in this film, but didn't realize he was in this. I'm truly a fan of a lot of his work over the decades. I've been watching him on film. So, because there's one scene where he's telling a story to the kids, and he wanted it to, like, hear me, and I was here for, like, his tone. But yes, this overall film I really, truly did enjoy. I will say, I know some individuals, feel a certain way, like some of them probably have not seen it. Some people already don't want to see it, and that's fine too. I know a lot of people make comments, which I always find rather comical, and not even in a good way. It's like, am I the only one who has no desire to see this? You're not, and that's okay. You can go ahead and watch whatever you want to watch, and everybody else who wants to see this is going to go out and see the film, and it's going to make that money like it did the first one. Might not make close to it, might make more, I don't know, I'm not psychic, but so far from what I see from the numbers that just came out, it's doing pretty darn well, and I'm actually happy for that, being that it's been, you know, over 10 plus years, and there's nothing wrong with that. I know some people wanted, you know, it to happen a couple years after. I didn't really, you know, care if he did another one and he didn't. That's fine. I'm happy to see he is. It is what it is, and it was, you know, I'll put it like this, I enjoyed it because it was honestly worth the wait, because I really liked what he had to do with this actual film, and I'm looking forward to the third installment in this. So, and I already stated I'm going to go see this again. I already bought some tickets for me and a friend, and I'm looking forward to watching it again. I'm not going to give nothing away. She's going to enjoy it, and I'm just going to sit right there and enjoy her reaction to all the scenes, or certain scenes that I like to see, you know, and we'll talk about it afterwards. But in the end, again, I really did enjoy this. This is one of my favorites of 2022. It's definitely in my top 10. So with that said, I would love to hear from people who actually saw it. Comment in the comments below. Let me know what you think. And with that said, I'll see you guys in the next movie review. You guys take care.